You are living in the most stimulated age in human history. The moment you wake up, there is something waiting for your attention. A notification, a message, a video, a headline, a new recommendation, another thing to watch, another thing to buy, another thing to react to. And the strange part is this. You may have more entertainment than ever before, yet feel less satisfied than ever. Welcome to Sarah Philosophy, where philosophy meets calmness, meaning, and the art of living a more thoughtful life. Today, you are going to look at something that quietly shapes your everyday life. The hidden cost of constant stimulation. The problem is not that you enjoy entertainment. The problem begins when your mind forgets how to be without it. Think about the last time you had nothing to do. You were waiting somewhere, walking without headphones, eating alone, sitting in your room. What happened? Did you simply sit there? Or did your hand automatically reach for your phone? That tiny movement reveals something important. You have been trained to escape every moment of stillness. Whenever boredom appears, you remove it. Whenever silence appears, you fill it. Whenever an uncomfortable thought appears, you distract yourself from it. And slowly, without realizing it, your ability to simply be present becomes weaker. This is the first hidden cost of constant stimulation. You lose your relationship with silence. Silence can feel uncomfortable at first because silence gives your mind space to speak. When there is no video playing, no music in the background, and no notification demanding your attention, thoughts that were hidden beneath the noise begin to surface. You start noticing what you actually feel. Maybe you are tired. Maybe you are worried about the future. Maybe something in your life no longer feels meaningful. Maybe you've been moving so quickly that you never stopped long enough to ask yourself where you were going. Constant stimulation protects you from these questions. But avoiding a question does not make it disappear. It only makes you less familiar with your own mind. This is something ancient philosophers understood surprisingly well. The Stoics repeatedly emphasize the importance of examining your thoughts instead of being controlled by them. And Buddhist philosophy takes this even further. Instead of constantly chasing pleasant experiences and running away from unpleasant ones, you learn to observe what is happening within you. You begin to realize that every thought does not require your reaction. Every feeling does not require an escape. Every moment does not need to be entertaining. And this leads to the second hidden cost. Constant stimulation makes ordinary life feel boring. Imagine spending hours watching short videos, switching between apps, listening to music, checking messages, and consuming endless streams of information. Then you put your phone down and look outside. The room is quiet. Nothing is happening. Suddenly, your ordinary life feels strangely empty. But perhaps your life did not become boring. Perhaps your brain simply became accustomed to intensity. When everything is designed to capture your attention, normal experiences begin to feel too quiet. A conversation feels slow. A walk feels uneventful. A meal feels incomplete without a screen. Even your own thoughts can start feeling like something you need to escape. This is where you can rediscover something that slow living has always understood. A meaningful life is not necessarily an exciting life. Sometimes meaning hides inside ordinary moments. Drinking tea without checking your phone. Walking while noticing the trees. Listening to someone without preparing your response. Eating without watching something. Looking at the evening sky and allowing yourself to experience it without photographing it. These moments may not give you a burst of excitement, but they can give you something stimulation cannot easily provide. Presence. And presence has another hidden benefit. It allows satisfaction to return, because constant stimulation teaches you to expect something new every few seconds. But satisfaction often requires staying with something long enough to appreciate it. Reading a difficult book, learning a skill, having a meaningful conversation, walking through a quiet neighborhood, sitting with an idea until you understand it. None of these experiences are designed to constantly entertain you. They ask something from you: attention, patience, participation. And that is exactly why they can feel more fulfilling. The third hidden cost of constant stimulation is that you become less comfortable with yourself. When every empty moment is filled, you rarely meet yourself without distractions. You become familiar with what other people are saying, showing, buying, achieving, and experiencing. But you may become less familiar with their own values. You start asking, what should I watch next? What should I buy next? What should I achieve next? Instead of asking, what actually matters to me? That difference is enormous. Because if you never create space to think, the world will gladly think for you. Algorithms can decide what deserves your attention. Trends can decide what you should want. Other people's lives can become the standard against which you measure your own. And suddenly, you are busy consuming a life instead of consciously creating one. You do not need to reject technology. You do not need to disappear into the mountains. You simply need to reclaim some moments that belong only to you. Let yourself be bored sometimes. Take a walk without constantly feeding your mind information. Eat one meal without a screen. Sit quietly for 5 minutes. Do one thing without switching to something else. At first, it may feel strangely difficult, but that discomfort is not necessarily a sign that something is wrong. It may simply be the feeling of your attention becoming your own again. You begin to notice the world differently. A quiet morning becomes enough. A conversation becomes deeper. A book becomes more interesting. A simple meal becomes more satisfying. And your mind becomes less desperate for the next thing. Perhaps the goal is not to eliminate stimulation. Perhaps the goal is to stop needing stimulation every moment. Because when you can enjoy both excitement and silence, both movement and stillness, both entertainment and ordinary life, you become much harder to control. You no longer need every moment to be impressive. You can simply be there. And maybe that is what you've been missing. Not another video, not another achievement, not another distraction. Just a little more space to experience the life you already have. If this idea connected with something you've been feeling lately, stay with Sarah Philosophy. Subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment telling me what you think constant stimulation has taken away from your life. Because sometimes the path to a calmer life does not begin with adding something new. It begins with becoming quiet enough to notice what was already there.